Resuming debate, the Honourable Member for Scarborough-Guildwood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank all honourable members for their contribution to this debate. Naturally, of course, I prefer some members' opinions over others, but nevertheless, that is in fact the nature of debate, and I thank each and every member who has contributed over the last couple of hours of debate. We are, in fact, in the final hour of debate. The second reading in this C-300 will go to a vote on the principle of C-300. The need for CSR supervision has already been decided, Mr. Speaker. It no longer, frankly, forms part of the debate. All sides agree, even the government, that there is some need for some form of CSR supervision. The debate has moved from should we do something to really how we should do it. It may have taken the government a number of years, Mr. Speaker, but on March the 26th, in their press release, the Government of Canada effectively admitted that there is a serious CSR issue in this country and in the extractive corporate sector. If there was no such issue, Mr. Speaker, then there would have been no such announcement. So now we have to talk about whether C-300 is the best response, or C-298, or the government's press release. As I said at the beginning of the debate, Mr. Speaker, ideally the government would have taken over this issue and framed the response around the creation of an ombudsman, an independent officer of Parliament. Regrettably, that did not happen, so now we have three choices. The government's press release, or CSR Light, as I've taken to calling it, the private member's bill C-298, creating an ombudsman, or C-300, reposing the responsibility in the two ministers with sanctions. Unfortunately, C-298 requires a royal recommendation, and for reasons alluded to earlier in the debate, would be dead on arrival, as it proposes something that a private member's bill cannot do, namely spend taxpayers' money. Only government with the approval of Parliament can do so. So as delighted as I would be to support the NDP party, both for their previous member, the member from Halifax, Alexa McDonough, and the member from Ottawa Centre, Ed Broadbent, and currently the member from Ottawa Centre in C-298. Unfortunately, this is just simply would be an exercise in futility, Mr. Speaker. So that really leaves C-300 or CSR Light. C-300 proposes a scheme of accountability which would include an ability to investigate, make findings, deal with frivolous and vexatious complaints, report to Parliament, and gazette the results. The government proposes an order in council appointment to assist in dispute resolution. C-300 proposes a modest array of sanctions with BDC, EDC, CPP, and various promotions. The government proposal is free of consequences for any offending company. C-300 proposes a review and a report to Parliament. The government response, CSR Light, proposes a report by various ministers and the tabling of that report by the Minister of International Trade to Parliament. So, Mr. Speaker, shouldn't we just declare a victory, issue a press release, pat ourselves on the back, and go home? Well, I like and respect the Minister of International Trade, Mr. Speaker. Even he doesn't think that he's going to be the Minister of International Trade forever. A new minister may well not be so enthusiastic about CSR and may withdraw the order in council appointment. What a Prime Minister can make, a Prime Minister can also unmake. The only meaningful protection, Mr. Speaker, is legislation. C-300 is legislation. A press release followed by an order in council appointment is not. Legislation has to be repealed by an act of Parliament. An order in council proceeds at the whim of Parliament. The effectiveness of the councillor is dependent upon the consent of the involved parties. C-300 does not depend upon the willingness of the accused party to cooperate. In fact, it presumes the opposite. C-300 may not have as optimistic a view of human nature as does the government, but possibly it's just a little bit more realistic. While joining hands and singing Kumbaya may be a wonderful experience in Muskoka on a glorious summer night, or even Halliburton, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't cut it in the harsh light of daily life, let alone the operating a business in some dreadful conditions. So I'd urge all honorable members to support this bill. I am extremely grateful for the support that I've received, that this bill has received over the past weeks and months. Amnesty International, CCIC, Development and Peace, EFC, Halifax International, Mennonite Central Committee, Mining Watch, World Vision, and it goes on, Mr. Speaker. And I see that you are giving me the end of my speech, but I just did want to thank each and every person who has supported this bill, and I hope that all honorable members see fit to vote in support of C-300. Thank you.
The time provided for debate has expired. Accordingly, the question is as follows. Is Mr. McKay, Scarborough-Guildwood, seconded by Mr. Savage, moved that Bill C-300, an act respecting corporate accountability for the activities of mining, oil or gas in developing countries, be now read a second time and referred to the Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs and International Development. Is it the pleasure of the House to adopt the motion? Yes. All those in favor of the motion will please say yea. Yay. All those opposed will please say nay. Nay. In my opinion, the yeas have it. Call in the members. No. Sorry. Pursuant to Standing Order 93, the division stands deferred until Wednesday, April 22nd, 2009, immediately before the time provided for private members' business.